Hey everybody, I'm Elise Wong, and on this video I'd like to share with you a time-lapse video I managed to compile. This digital painting was actually done for a friend. We've known each other since we were in primary school, and back then my art was total crap. But she always supported me, she always had faith in me all the way until this day. She's still supporting me and I feel really grateful. So this painting is a token of my appreciation for her support. The concept for this was really loose, something that involves a water element and a leaf element. The story I managed to come up with this is the world is dying, the soil becomes barren and all the trees are dying, and trees feed herbivores and carnivores eat the herbivores as well, omnivores as well. And then that's the circle of life. So once the plants started dying, so does the chain follows. So this girl, she's a leaf element, and it is her quest to actually bring this plant of life to one of the last places on earth that the soil is still fertile, and she's going to plant the plant of life there. Her friend is a water element and she can control water, like help make her journey a lot smoother. And this is one of the scenes. They are traveling via water, so she sits on a lotus pad and her friend controls the water to make their journey a lot faster and swifter. And I really hope you enjoyed this time-lapse video as well as the tutorial. I started by mapping the trees in the background, and then I use a gradient to give that clean shade in the back. The foreground is going to be really bright. Because of this, I am going to contrast it with a really dark background, so it looks like it complements each other even more. There's going to be a lot of water, so this is me trying to draw a wave. And in my head, that there's this girl sitting on the lotus pad, and this is her mode of transportation because her friend can control water. So she's just sitting there and the water takes her to places while she sits on the lily pad. I lay down the flat colors first, then only I add in the shades. Right now she looks a little freaky, but just bear with me for a while. With time and lots of shading, things will slowly come together. Beware of where your source of light is. My source of light is at the bottom, hence the lighter parts are at the bottom of the face, whilst the shadow is on the top of her face. I started painting the hair. Always beware how the light hits your subject. I've seen digital artists who loves to keep their painting to such very few layers, to maybe 2 or 3. And while I applaud that because I think it takes a lot of skills and bravery to actually put all your eggs in such few baskets, but for me, I love to, because this is digital art and I like to take full advantage of the fact that you can actually make as many layers as you like. And if you do make a mistake, you can actually delete that layer without affecting any of your previous paintings. I say that you can actually use as many layers as you like. However, make sure you know when to switch layers because it can be very confusing. I use a pattern brush and I just lay the pattern on top of her, and then I will erase it and then I will shade it accordingly so it kind of looks like it has shape instead of just flat colors. And make sure to save your artwork in PSD from time to time. This is really important because while I paint, I have experienced crashes in Photoshop, and it would be really sad if you have been spending hours painting only to find out that Photoshop has crashed and all of your progress just went down the drain just like that. So always be sure to save your progress from time to time. I added shadows so it really looks like she's sitting there. Next I painted her friend. As usual, I usually put flat colors first, then I started shading. I keep the outline, and I will switch it on from time to time to know where the placement of everything is. I thought a purple eyeshadow and lipstick will go well with her blue hair. If you notice, I will sometimes flip the image horizontally. This is really helpful because it's really funny how your brain works, because you started painting in the beginning, your brain actually thinks that everything is alright. And up until the point where you actually flip the image and then your brain sees it in a whole new light, and it just kind of goes like, whoa, this proportion is really off. And that's how you know. Sometimes you ask your friend how it looks, and then your friend say, oh, the angle looks a bit odd, and you just go like, no, it isn't. But if you actually flip it horizontally, then you can see what are the flaws, and then that's where you can correct them, because it's a lot easier to correct them in the early stages than when you finish your painting and just to realize that something is off. For the legs, they were really tricky for me. It's not as simple as two stick legs with a socket in the middle as your knee. It the it's the way the skin overlaps the muscles and tendons and everything. It's really complicated, I find. So if you have a reference photo, that will be amazing. It will be really helpful. Another thing I like about digital painting is that you can actually make your own custom brushes to give the texture you want and to really speed up the painting process. Well, all that may be good, but I have a lot of custom brushes that I have in my palette, and I don't even know what to use it for, so just don't be afraid to play around and see what suits you. I also wanted to make it look like she was standing on water that was made by her magic. For the hands, as I said before, I usually switch on my outline, and then I will just shade accordingly. So I know where all the darks are, then I roughly know how the shape will take place, and then I shade it from there. And I try to do like some sort of power coming out, emanating from her hands. The first one didn't work, so then I tried a different brush, and then this is the effect that I got, and I liked it, so I stick with it. And I had to redo the legs again because I felt just something was off about it. Then I started to do the trees in the background. I wanted to make it look like it's dead, because the plant that I'm actually drawing on in her hands right now is like that source of life that is going to save everything. So it kind of looks like it's really bright and glowy, so it looks like there's so much power in them. Then what I'm doing now is that I'm actually painting in the light bounce. This is when the light hits another object and the light from that object will be reflected back to the subject. This really adds a more three-dimensional effect, and also that the character is part of the painting instead of just a copy-paste kind of thing. I added splashes so it looks like the water is actually in front of the girl and not the other way around. I also added a moon to give that little extra backlighting. And ta-da! Thank you for watching. I hope you found it helpful, and if you're new on my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you'd like to know what's happening with my paintings and photos, you can follow me on Facebook, Deviantart, Google+, and Blogspot. That's all for today, and I'll see you on the next video.